Peace and blessings, everyone. Welcome to Spotlight. There's a lot going on in the territory, and we're going to have an interesting program for you this evening. Call your friends, call everybody you know, tell them to be streaming live on jtvlive.net. They could look at us on their computer, and of course, you could look at us at JTV Channel 55. We have the Honorable Minister Mark Vanterpool, Minister of Communications and Works, and we're going to be answering all the questions tonight about the cruise pier development. It's going to be interesting. Fireworks is going to be flying, and I'm not going to allow him to get away with any half-you-know-what answers tonight. So you call your friends, and you're going to participate as well. The phone's going to be open, so you can text. If you don't want your voice heard on the air, you can text your comments or your questions, or you can call us up on the phone. So it's going to be really interesting. We're going to be right back after these words from our sponsors.
This program is sponsored by the law firm of J.S. Archibald & Co. and by the trust company J.S. Archibald Trust Services Limited, both of Roadtown, Tortola, BVI.
Welcome back to Spotlight here on JTV, Channel 55. I'm Edjuenka, and I'm here with the Minister of Communication and Works, Honorable Mark Vanterpool. And you know, just like the National Health Insurance Plan, the cruise ship pier development project is the hot items in the news. There are two big initiatives, two important initiatives for the country, for the development of the country. Of course, another one is the airport project. These are major initiatives for the development of the country. They're not bad initiatives, but I think that they need to be cleared. They need to be done in a way where we understand them, we understand the need for them, and we understand how they're going to be funded and what the benefits to us going to be. It can't be that things are developing in the country and we're not benefiting. Can't work that way. So I want to welcome you with that line, Honorable Vanterpool. It can't be that things are developing in the country and we're not benefiting.
Right.
We're not going to have that.
Most definitely.
Yeah. So welcome to Spotlight.
I appreciate it. I'm pleased to be here. Welcome, and look forward to chatting with you.
Yes.
And enlighten you as best I can on what is happening.
Well, the first thing, I know from the very beginning that we talked about the reason why we needed the cruise ship pier expanding, and we needed to have a landslide development, right? So I want you to justify for us why we need the pier expanded first, in the simplest, shortest answer you can, and why we need a landslide development, and why it have to be so elaborate.
Yeah, when I visited, soon after I became Minister responsible for ports, I visited Miami and met with all of the players at what you call the FCCA meeting for our Caribbean Cruise Association. And what they said to us plainly is that, Minister, is your country going to remain in the business of cruise tours or not? Because we don't see any signs of that. And what they were saying was, in order for you to remain in the business, the new developments in the cruise liners are that they're moving to bigger ships in the Caribbean, because of the demand that they have, and it's more economical for them to go to bigger ships to operate, which is the 4,000 passenger ships, meaning that we had to extend our pier wider and longer to be able to accommodate them. And therefore, we promised them that we would. The previous government started on that process, didn't get very far. They had some discussions and negotiations with Disney about it. However, we took it on right away and decided that we promised them that we wanted them to be in the business. We want to be in the business. The business is very beneficial to the territory in terms of overall tourism product. When you speak of 500,000 cruise line tourists who spend an average of $50 per passenger on an average between their passenger tax and all other things, you talk about $25 million a year. Over 4 years is $100 million that comes into the economy, directly into our economy, and the other things that spin off from it. So we felt that it was important to move to expand the pier right away.
Right. So the expansion of the pier is, of course, one thing, and we could see how that could be necessary. Now, when you expand the pier, it's going to fit the ships that we supposed to fit. We're not going to have a problem in the next 2 years that the ship's bigger and we need to expand it again.
Hopefully not.
Okay.
But I think we are modeling the Pier to exactly what the cruise liners are suggesting, that will last for another 15 years or 20 years at least.
Okay, now they seem to me that the cruise liners want a elaborate landside development. Is that something that they're asking for?
Yeah, I don't know if the word is elaborate, but what the cruise liners are asking for is what they call the cruise tourist experience on the land side when they arrive, what they call the arrival experience, where they come and they meet a town and an arrangement that they can enjoy, relax, in addition to going on the tours and all the different things. So the experience that they as cruise liners suggest is that there needs to be a sort of cruise village when they arrive, and that's what we are supporting. And they propose some ideas, and we review them. Some things we don't agree with. We heard from the public, for example, on the Ferris wheel idea that's out of the project, and a couple of things. What they call it, the tram or the trolley that drives through town. We took that out of it, having heard from the public on a number of issues like that. And but the rest of the project, generally speaking, we are looking at moving forward with.
Well, why couldn't we have built that? Why do we have to take their specifications? Why couldn't we have said to them that, listen, our village is right there. You know, it's not like in other places where town is miles and miles away. Our village is 10 minutes walking from the cruise ship pier. So we would build a nice, welcoming environment on the pier. I'll have a nice park and so on, but our activities would be in our town, which is only 10 minutes walk away from the cruise pier. Why we have to build everything out on the cruise pier? Because I have noticed in a lot of cruises I have been to that when you have these big developments on the pier, the inner city suffers and local people suffer.
Yeah, but we hope that wouldn't happen. What we are building here, Cromwell, is not an exclusive city or exclusive village. This is all going to be part of the city of Rotown. We are building it in a way that it merges, grows into, is connected to, is developed with the city of Rotown. It's all part of the Rotown development. As you know, the group that we are talking to are offering to invest about $20 million into the Rotown area and other destination areas for the tourists, to be able to merge them with what we are doing there. So it's not going to be isolated from the town. We're ensuring that it's become part of the town of Rotown. We're connecting it with Craftlife Village. We're connecting it with Main Street. We're connecting it with the walk up to the Botanic Gardens. We're connecting it with the museums. We're connecting it to all of the areas in Rotown and getting the tourists to visit our other areas in the territory, not just in Tortola, but elsewhere.
So what is that connection going to look like? I mean, I'm envisioning you come in on a cruise ship, you come off, you go into the park area, and they're going to be you're going to have all the stores. Well, first of all, we have all these international stores in the thing.
We're going to have some international stores, yes.
Yeah, we're going to have Columbia Emeralds,
some of them.
Diamond International, Torno, and all the major companies.
I don't know all the Cromwell, but some of those names are important.
And Klein and all of these people.
I don't know what the names are going to be, Cromwell. So I'm not going to assume names and call names that I don't know. We haven't. I don't think they've selected any names.
But I'm creating a general category.
Yeah, but I understand what you're trying to say.
Yes.
And what you're trying to say is that this village will have some international companies,
restaurants,
mixed with local companies groups that will be on the pier.
What is going to make them want to come into Rotown? And what is going to make them want to come into Rotown?
Of course, there's a strong need, and it wouldn't be every tourist who will go into Rotown. We're trying to find ways of getting them to be in the village. As they come out of the ships, there are going to be ways of taking them on tours, some of them. Some may want to stay in the village. Some may want to go into town. Some may want to go on walks and different places. So there's a variety. When you have on any given day approximately 8,000 passengers coming into the town, you want to be able to disperse them in different areas and different ways around the country for the rest of the country to benefit also.
So some
but there will be some, I'm sure, who will stay in the village, but usually most tourists, and your experience has been, as you have said, but usually most tourists who come to a town don't want to stay in the village. They may buy something there, but they want to see what the country is like. They want to get out and go to the town, go to the other parts of the country and see it. Some may walk, some may drive, some may, yes, there's some who may stay in the village. You know, even now I see some of them who stay around the ship. They don't always all get off the ship, but our job is to encourage them to get off and enjoy the city of Road Town and the rest of the territory.
Now, I understand what you're saying about someone who want to go into town, but you know that when you're on the cruise ship marketing people have a way of saying to the passengers that these stores in these areas are the areas that we vouch for when it comes to purchases and hospitality and so on. We can vouch for the other areas. And what that does is it sends a subliminal message in the minds of the tourists that, you know, in order to be safe and sure of your experience, follow what the cruise director on the ship tells you. What are we going to do to deal with that particular issue? And is our tourist board going to be helping our local businesses to address that type of advertising and marketing behavior that is engaging on the cruise lines?
I always believe that if you believe in something that you do, if you're a shop owner or you're the city manager or you and the tourist board or you and the government, we have to build our town to attract people to it. Even away from these kind of suggestions that we made on board the ship. When people come into the town, they leave the dock, they walk into town, they see the quaint shops, they see the ideas that we're putting out, and people will buy. You're not going to have everybody buy, but I'm saying people will buy, people will support. And we have to be able to promote, develop, and offer our wares and our goodies that we have to the tourists. If you have 8,000 people, you don't expect 8,000 to buy from you or buy from any group of individuals, say Crafts Alive or wherever else. But you expect a percentage of that, hopefully, to spend their money with you. Even if you had 20% of them spending with you, you know, which would be 1,000 or 1,500 persons spending with you, at least you have some traffic coming to your stores. And that is the way business goes. You have to develop your commerce to attract them. We want to build a boardwalk that is close to the cruise ship pier that connects you to Road Town. We want to have the sidewalks that give you the connectivity, the signage. We want to get people moving through the town. And the effort will be made. And I believe that people will move through town and support the shops in the town.
The development of Road Town and the surrounding area, the city as you call it, is it going to be done simultaneously while the cruise pier is being built?
I don't know if it will all be done all right away, but we certainly want to move very quickly and trying to do a lot of those things.
Who's going to spend the money on the development? Is the government spending the money, or is that some of the money is going to come from the developers?
Some of the money is coming from the developers. The idea has been that they will contribute $2 million up front to help with the Road Town city development and the beaches development. $2 million up front, and then each year $500,000.
So when you say up front, that means while they are starting to expand the pier and build a landside development, we are going to get $2 million to look to develop
some of the things in Road Town as well. And we will not just depend on their $2 million, obviously. We will have various projects that we are doing. For example, the Premier is about to start a project on the Queen Elizabeth Park. We just finished the Crafts Alive Park, as you know. We're about to start discussions with the stakeholders on Main Street, and we're going to then go to the public about Main Street. We're going to be building better sidewalks, easier for traversing. We're going to start looking at the parking lots. I know we're going to look at some reclamation in Road Town and how we develop that and what we build along the boardwalk in order to attract tourists and visitors and our residents alike. We're going to be doing all those things. So it will take a little time. It's not going to all happen overnight, but we will attempt very early to be able to attract tourists away from the cruise pier village into our town.
Okay. What is the cruise pier village going to look like? It's going to be a big building, 1 building, 2 buildings. You're going to have stores, restaurants? What sort of activity is going to be going on in the village?
I think the mix that I remember that they suggested was a number of buildings that are going to be there. We're trying to create the look of some of the buildings to be of the nature of what we have in our town, in typical rural town. They're going to, in addition to some of the buildings that we'll have the various shops, they're going to, as I remember, have sort of kiosks along the way that you can buy from the kiosk and so on. They're going to be some...
These are like little carts and so on that's going to be movable in the...
Yeah, that you can park different points and so on. And then there are going to be there's going to be restaurants, of course, on the site. We leave an open space for what we call a sort of amphitheater to be able to not just entertain the tourists, but even when the tourists are not here, because our idea is that the village will still be alive at any other time, that we can have activities in there and be able to use the facilities. It won't be gated or closed off to the public. It will be a place that can be used at any time.
Well, that was one of my questions, because I visited I think it was the Falmouth in Jamaica. I visited that park, and I noticed that it was gated, and some of the local persons said to me, taxi drivers, as a matter of fact, said to me that you don't go in there when there is no cruise ships in port.
Right.
And one of my questions is whether this is going to be a similar situation here, where it's going to be gated and we are not going to be able to go in there as long as there is no cruise ship in port. So you're saying that this village is going to be open?
Completely open.
Every day?
We're not going to have it closed off from the public. We're not allowed to be gated. We know of the Falmouth situation. We have deliberately ensured and told developers that we don't want that scenario. They have not offered it. And they actually want to make the park a part of the town at all times.
What about international security? Is that going to be an issue with having an open park where we can go at any time when cruise and tourists coming off the boat and interacting freely with people of the territory? Is that a security challenge that the cruise industry has raised?
No, they don't. They're concerned primarily, to do with some of the U.S. Homeland Security and so on, is to have a certain portion of the actual dock, close to the dock, secured, that you can't go onto the dock, or close enough to the ships that there'll be any danger there. But besides that, most of the rest of the park will be open. There will be just a small area, similar to what we have now actually, that sort of secures not around the fence, but closer to the ship and the pier, where you will not be able to go beyond that onto the actual dock or up to the ships.
Now, how much local stores is going to be allowed to go into the village? As a percentage.
Yeah, we are recommending that, and they've offered, in fact, I should say, that there will be about 25 to 30 actual stores that will be offered to our locals, exclusively for locals. And then the kiosks that we were talking about, I think there will be another 12 or 24. I don't remember the exact number that will be rented to our local folks. And I think there's another small area that will be used for sort of small vendors that will be in the park.
How will the distribution of those spaces be decided?
I don't know yet the full details of that, Cormier, but I'm sure what I encourage people to do from now is that they write to the Ports Authority and offer, it will be controlled by the Ports Authority in this group, and they write to the Ports Authority offering or requesting space, and then the Ports Authority, I'm sure, will set up some sort of selection process. I don't know what it will be. I don't think there have been a lot of discussions on that as yet, but I'm sure there's going to be a process. So
persons, the local businesses can express interest from now?
I have seen some interest expressed already, and the ports are looking at those. Some have come to the ministry, and we have passed them on to the ports for discussion. And
so the correct avenue to get yourself online, so to speak, for a space in the park is to send a request or proposal to the Ports Authority.
I would strongly suggest that
any liaison, any name in particular that you send the proposal, your proposal.
No, there's no specific proposal. We send to the Ports Authority. I've had some come to the ministry, directly to myself. We have passed them on to the Ports Authority, Once you write it to the Ports Authority, they will establish it. If persons wish to copy to the ministry, so that we can be aware of it also. But we're encouraging as many persons as possible who have their ideas, have their stores that they want to put in there, and want to be able to do a business in there to write. We want to encourage as many locals as possible to be in there, because there will be traffic through there, and we want to encourage them to come in and be able to make a living.
So you could send to the Port Authority to attention the director, Clark Klein.
Correct. The managing director.
The managing director, Clark Klein. We're going to take a break for a word from our sponsors, and we're going to come back. We're going to continue discussion relative to the tour operators and the taxis, sure, and how they're going to fit into that scheme as well. We'll be right back after these words from our sponsors. Call your friends, tell them to tune into Spotlight. The Minister of Communication and Works is here, and we're talking about the cruise fare. Everything is on the table. Everything is open to discussion. Anything you want to know, tonight is the opportunity for you to get to understand what's going on with that project. We'll be right back after these words from our sponsors.
Spotlight is brought to you by Bolo's High-Tech Printery, Virgin Island Motors, and Clarence Thomas Limited.
Welcome back to Spotlight. Here, privileged to have with me the Minister of Communication and Works, Honorable Mag Vanterpool. We're talking about the cruise fare project and much of what we can get from him tonight as possible. The people of the territory wants the government, my ears to the ground.
Yeah.
And they want the government of the Virgin Islands to understand. Any government,
yep,
they ain't got NDP, VIP, any government of the Virgin Islands now have to understand that the people of the BVI have come to a point in their personal development where they want to be a partner in the development of the country.
Yes.
The phrase is, if the country is developing for BVI landlords, leave it how it is. Let it stay wilderness, let it stay bird sanctuary, let it stay how it is, if we're not going to benefit from it. So we want to be participants, partners in all development of the country, and governments need to understand that.
And then one of the things I want to make clear, from my premier down, we are adamantly interested in ensuring that happens. I mean, every corner of the world. It may not appear so sometimes, but our interest is to build this country in the interest of our people.
Well,
that's what we're about.
We want it to appear so all the time.
Yeah, it is so, because we at the end of the day, we want to ensure that the people benefit, and that's what it's about.
When you're on the ship, you have the ship sells tours. And a lot of the tours that it sells are from tour operators in its destinations that are able to have these tours packaged and have them on the ship and have the ship sell them to the people. So when they come off, they come in directly into a local tour operator. Now there are going to be some independent tour operators and taxi drivers who are going to want a piece of the action, and going to want to be able to sell a tour or pick up a fare from a person who didn't buy into the tour on the ship.
Right.
How is that going to be done? How accessible is the village going to be to the taxi drivers and tour operators who are independent and not part of a larger organization?
Yeah. First of all, we've had a number of tour operators here who are very experienced, have done a very good job in the past, and will continue to do a good job. The tour operators who are operating here, we want to commend them and want to be able to encourage them to continue to make a living, because they've been involved for a long, long time. But in terms of the independents and those who want to benefit, we are actually going to have on the pier an area for those who come off the ship who want to go to predetermined tours, and an area very close to that who want to have independent tours, who want to ask questions about the tour. And we have independent operators who may offer to operate from there and offer the tours. So we want to clearly, and the ship operators are very much aware there are a number of passengers on the ship who don't want to have predetermined tours. So we want to have a clear accommodation for those persons who will come off the ship and see a big sign that says you can buy a tour here, or you can discuss a tour here, and have persons there who can make the offer, the independent taxi operators and so on. And so that is something that we have discussed. In fact, we have discussed it openly in the past, and the taxi operators have given us a lot of input in this, and we have listened to them. We have heard a lot of their issues. They're varying and some different views that they have, but all in all, they want to ensure that they can benefit, and we are ensuring that we are accommodating that. We are a strong supporter of a taxi group, and we want to ensure that even in an independent way, they can offer their services.
Okay. Now, the actual work on the pier, the expansion, the widening and lengthening of the pier, the building of the landside development is a major project that's going to cost anywhere between 25 and 50 to 70 million dollars, right? That's a lot of money. We want some of that money. Virgin Islands want some of that money. Is it safe to say that the government has, through its negotiating team, selected Tortola Pier partners for the group that's going to develop the project?
Yes.
Is that the same group that was in the initial stages?
Yes. Yes.
So the same group that was there before is the one that's won the bid and will be developing the project.
I also, because you understand, Carmel, we are in negotiation stages. And it could be some could break down there and we don't agree with them. We are negotiating in the interest of our people. And there are things in there, even though they were selected, because they considered to be the best bid that we considered. When they get down to the table and discuss the fine points of it, we want to make sure that they come to an agreement that is in the interest of the Virgin Islanders. And so far, we believe that they are. I am not privy to the negotiation table, but the fact that they're still there and discussing and negotiating, we expect that they will come out with a final agreement. But once they do, yes, we expect that it will be.
But certainly as our representative, you would have said to them, you know, I want this, I want that, I don't want to see this, I don't want to see that. What are some of the things that you're trying to negotiate on our behalf?
First of all, let me say that one of the reasons we move so quickly to get this development going, if we can get $50 million spent in this economy at this stage when the economy is, you know, needs a push, we want to encourage that $50 million to be spent in the economy. We don't want it to be spent in the economy and it goes away and goes outside. We want it as much as possible to remain here. So we have said to them very clearly that we want to make sure that the building and the development that they do, that we get our locals involved. We have the expertise here. We have the people who can do these projects and build these buildings and build the pier and whatever else is needed. We want them to ensure that they work with our local builders to do this. So they will come to the point where they will be going out there and offering bids and encouraging people to come and get involved in the building.
So that's one of the things that you negotiate.
We hope that when it happens, we see that.
Yeah.
We went to the public also. As you know, there was a lot of discussion on this, and we were so glad to receive the feedback. We were talking about 49 years at the beginning, remember?
Right.
And the public felt that they didn't want it to be leased for even 1 year.
Right.
But you know, from a financial standpoint, we had to agree, and we got it down to 30 years, where they will be able to lease the property along with the Port Authority for 30 years. And the important thing to understand is that lease, we have made it clear to them that they can offer no liens or encumbrances on the land from any banks or any financiers or anything like that. The land has to remain. And
they understand that, and that's clear.
That is one of the very first.
No, when you say a lease, you're talking about collecting real money or just a lease in name?
It's a lease that is with the Port Authority owns the land right now. They are going to be joint venturing with them and leasing it. There is not. I don't remember the final. I don't know the final negotiations.
But there's no real rent. There's no real rent to pay. But it's a lease as a legal relationship.
Yes. It's all tied in, Cromwell, to what we have gotten from them in their offer. What we have gotten from them in their offer is a guarantee of 425,000 passengers. At least this is what they've been offering. 425 passengers per year.
1,000 passengers per year.
425,000 passengers per year at $7 per passenger at the beginning. This is the guarantee that we have gotten for 15 years. The lease and so on is all tied into that. If they don't guarantee that, and if they don't pay that, we're not leasing the land. Okay. So it's indirectly payment, but it's all tied into that.
So we are going to get $7 per passenger.
Yes.
And they're going to raise the head tax.
to $15.
To $15.
That was the number that we were talking about.
So, so is that money coming to the Ports Authority and we giving them their share, or it's coming to them and they giving us their our share?
The Port Authority controls the money that comes in.
So we are the ones that saying the head tax gonna be $15.
Yes.
And then we're gonna take our $7 and we're gonna give them the $8.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, talking about the contractors, I think I read that one of the partners is a contractor.
One of the groups is an engineering development firm, yes.
And
I think it's called UIG, or I think that's one of the groups.
And they're going to be actually the project managers on the project.
Yes, correct.
And so they will be hiring. They will be the ones responsible for hiring our local people to do the job.
Yes.
And who from our side is going to be monitoring that situation to make sure that the bidding process is fair and transparent, one, and that we in fact get a fair share of the work that's going to be going on the pier.
It's going to, the Port Authority will be ultimately responsible, but our Ministry of Finance, under our protocols and everything that we are adhere to, will ensure that it is done the right way that we have signed on to, because it's what you call a public-private partnership that is subject to our protocols that we operate under, and they will have to adhere to that.
Now, I know you had two groups that you shortlisted, and you chose this one group. Why you chose this group over the other group?
Commonly, the two groups that offered to us were very good and very qualified to do the project. All right. We put out some very key things that we were looking for. The strength and development of the Ports Authority, especially with the development of our ports. In the future, we have the cruise pier port to develop. We have the main cargo pier to be expanded and developed over the next 10 or 15 years. We have the Rotown jetty to be developed. We have the Virgin Water jetty, the passenger pier especially to be developed, and the repair and so on of the present jetty. We have Yesterdike and we have Anigara to be developed. Now, in order for the port to be secure in raising funds to do this, the port needs to have a certain level of guarantee of passengers that they will be able, over the next 15 years, to be able to underwrite their development process. You know, you're going to be talking about several millions of dollars over the next 10, 15, 20 years to develop our ports. When we talk about it, they're huge developments when you talk about the cargo pier especially and the cruise pier. And therefore, when someone comes and guarantees 425,000 passengers for 15 years, whether they come or not, they have to pay for them. That is the port's guarantee to be able to develop the ports and to be able to do a lot of different things. And that is going to pay the developer for his investment. Yes, yes. So, in a sense, that money is not coming out of the treasury. We are making that money to pay them. We getting a cut, they getting a cut. And in the meantime, you get your ports developed, you get your city developed, you get your entrepreneurs involved at the beginning in the construction, and you get your entrepreneurs involved while the port is operating. The Port Authority continues to be a partner in it, and we're able to share in what happens. At the end of the time, the 30 years, you know, it becomes our project. Exactly what is being negotiated at the end of that, I don't know, I can't say yet. I know originally before that, do we have options to purchase? Yes, the agreement that we are negotiating is suggesting that we want to have options to purchase beginning from the 15th year. Okay, so they guaranteed to have this 15 years. They're hoping to make their money back within 15 years, and then at the rest of that period, then we're going to buy it back. But we have the option to buy it. We have the option to buy it back. Are we going to know how the value? Do we know how the value is going to be figured at that time? Yes, we in the final negotiations, that's going to be determined of what we expect at the time. Okay, but that's something that hasn't been determined as yet. They're negotiating it. And when that is final, of course, you will let us know. Of course, immediately. Once Cabinet makes a decision, and we'll make it public. Okay, I want to talk about. We're going to take a break, but I want to talk about any special concessions that we have given them, particularly regarding labor, work permits, immigration, duties, any negotiations for purchasing materials,
from local suppliers like Clarence Thomas in Terrace Hill and all our local suppliers. All these things I want to talk about and more when we come back. Keep it locked right here. The Spotlight will be right back after these words from our sponsors.
This program is sponsored by the law firm of J.S. Archibald & Co. and by the trust company J.S. Archibald Trust Services Limited, both of Roadtown, Tortola, BVI.
Welcome back to Spotlight. I'm Edwin Come here with the Honorable Mark Vanterpool, Minister of Communication and Works, and we're talking about the port project, the cruise pier project. And I think I should open up the phones. You can text us or you can call us. The phone lines will come up on the screen. But I want to go back to the reason why we chose one developer over the other. We talk about the benefits to the contractors and how you want to make sure that local contractors get the bulk of the major share of the building. You don't want the $50 or so million to just go back to North America and Europe. You want some of that money to circulate in the territory to strengthen our economy that needs strengthening as we speak. What were the differences between the groups that your negotiating team presented to you that made you want to choose the Tortola Pier Park group over the Royal Caribbean cruise?
Yeah, come on, let me just first of all say that the Premier has made it very clear, as he's responsible for procurement through his procurement team, that we felt we were very transparent. We put out the bid, the RFPs, requests for proposals. People bid. We came down to selecting two in the end. At the end of the day, the procurement group looked at the two proposals that were made, met with the two groups, and finally presented to the cabinet what they felt, who they felt was the person that was better suited to make the development. And both groups, in our view, had the experience that we were looking for. The main thing that came out very clear was the number of passengers guaranteed. Secondly, the fact that we were able to have the interests of one group who wanted to make sure we connected the city with the development, and therefore they offered $20 million over the period of their investment to help to develop the town and the destinations, the beaches, the historical sites, and so on, where the tourists would be going. And that was an important factor for us. They both came down to a 30-year period, which was in tandem and agreement with what we were trying to do, and so on. But overall, the important that we were looking for was that guarantee and the expertise to be able to operate a cruise port.
Now, you said $20 million over a period of the investment. What does that mean? What period is that?
30 years, $2 million up front, and $500,000 each year thereafter.
Okay. Now, there's a claim that the Royal Caribbean has more experience in building these types of facilities around the world than Tortola Pier partners, and so you're getting a group that doesn't have any experience, and you selected a group that doesn't have any experience, and you give up a group but that has experience.
I would not get into all the details of that point because that is an issue that I don't want to, the reasons and so on that came. But I would say that yes, Royal Caribbean has a lot of experience. They're a very good operator. They're one of the biggest cruise ship businesses in the world. The other group is Tortola Pier Park Group, who are connected with other operators. Disney has a vast experience in operating all sorts of things like cruise ship operations, and you know the worldwide Disney cruise park is renowned. I mean, when you have Disney's name associated with something, that spells something. Norwegian Cruise Lines is also a very large cruise company. So to tell me that the group that Tortola Pier Park is involved with it does not have the experience, I would say, I'm not sure if I would agree with you.
But in terms of building, the actual building infrastructure, they have the skills in building infrastructure?
Anybody can build a pier. Cromwell, I would say, and a cruise development is the expertise in terms of how you operate and
so you just need to hire the contractors. It's just the management is what
we're interested in, and Total Pier Group has persons who have been involved in the management of piers and who've been involved in developing. So I may be stand corrected, but I know the association with Disney and Norwegian is important. But that wasn't the key factor. It was a factor, but that wasn't the key factor. The key factor was that we have two large cruise ships companies, Disney and Norwegian Cruise Lines, who are willing to guarantee 425,000 passengers to this territory, which is crucial for all. 425,000. No, that's 425,000 just by these two ships. Of course, we will be courting and encouraging all other companies who have been very good to us in the territory. Royal Caribbean, Carnival Cruise Lines, they all are very interested in continuing to come. But I'm saying just that part, those two companies will guarantee 425,000. The others will come up, of course. So
Royal Caribbean wasn't guaranteeing that amount of tourists?
As far as I know, in the bid, Royal Caribbean was speaking of about 125,000, 130,000. I don't remember how much it is, compared to the 425 that we're talking about here.
So there was considerable factors that were taken into consideration with the choice.
Like I said, the procurement committee went through it, and they made a recommendation based on these factors. And the cabinet accepted recommendations made by the procurement committee.
Work permits, immigration, those have always been issues when it comes to development. What concessions have been made in terms of them bringing in their own employees, giving work permits over local people, and also buying the materials and the products from here that they need to
well, of course, like I said earlier, we want to ensure that the development benefits our locals. There will be, I'm sure, through Total Pier Group, some persons that they will want to bring in. We don't have any special arrangements with them. They will have to go through the process of work permit approvals, of course. But we want to ensure that they hire as many locals, train as many locals, and get as many locals involved. It is not any rocket science to manage a cruise ship pier operation. So we're hoping that they will hire as many of our local people as possible. Unless we don't have the labor available, we will have to bring in. But we believe that one of the benefits of this is to be able to create more employment for our local people, and we want to encourage local persons early in the game to come in, apply when the jobs are advertised, make sure that we will make sure that they get trained and that we can benefit from employment through this process. In terms of materials and so on, of course, we will want to ensure from even now asking our suppliers to prepare to offer the material that will be needed and be able to negotiate with this group that they can sell material to them. I am one who always tell our suppliers, including myself, that is not automatic. You have to make yourself available and offer to a group, and we will encourage from the government side. Again, it is important because if this $50 million is spent overseas and not locally, we don't benefit. So we want to ensure that our local companies and contractors and businesses can benefit from it.
One of the failures of our governments is to say what you just said, in the sense that they say, yes, we want to encourage our local contractors and they usually say step up to the plate and so on. But isn't the government role that facilitator to get identify the group of contractors and suppliers who can actually do the job and say to the developers, listen, these are some of our best people who have the skills, who can do the purchasing, have the purchasing power, who can facilitate your needs. We want you to meet with them, and we want to help them work out a deal to make sure that these things happen. Is your government prepared to
what we will do very clearly is connect developers with the suppliers. We don't want to be in the middle negotiating anything with suppliers and the builders. We will want to find a way to put the two of them together, and it will be up to them. The government cannot and should not play the role of being in the middle of that. That is in a way not transparency. These the suppliers of goods and services, we want to ensure that we connect these builders to them and ensure the builders understand that it is government's concerned that this is economic development and that we want all locals to benefit.
We don't want you to say who to buy from.
Yeah.
We just want you to say. We just want you to say we want you to buy locally.
Local. Yeah. We are. Yeah. That's just something that we will.
Thank you for calling Spotlight. Go ahead, please. Thank you for calling Spotlight. Go ahead, please.
Good night, gentlemen.
Good night, sir.
Good night. Good night.
Yes, well, it's good to celebrate next event to Pier. I've been listening to you guys, and I have a couple of questions and concerns.
Make it as quick as possible.
Yes. What is the timeline? Because it seems like a lot of people holding on, hoping that this thing is going to be done, and that we're going, but what is the timeline? Now, you don't answer yet. I want to ask you a question. One other thing that I have a concern with is the vendors in town. I know when that structure is finished, I think right now we should have some kind of plan or program in place to advertise the vendors downtown and advertise a lot more of the craft and stuff. Because people actually, if they don't know, they know they used to have something right close to the down. So I think we need to do some more of advertising those people down there. And maybe doing a little more cultural stuff down there, advertising with it, that people would be some kind of interest to draw them in there. Another thing, the last question. I heard that we're going to get $20 million to spend to develop, to make the destination a better experience, the historical sites and many things. We don't detail a lot of stuff. We need to detail more, fix up more stuff so it can be more interest. But who will manage that money when everything is said and done? Where the tools will come into place to manage the money?
Carla, okay, we have what timeline for the project to begin and end, and the $20 million, who's going to manage the money? I think those are two questions that you need to let the minister answer. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you very much for calling.
Good question. Good questions. Timeline, Kamal, I can't be very specific on that, but I'll say how I kind of see it playing out here. They're in the negotiation stages still. From what I gather, they should complete the negotiations sometime between now and the end of April, and hopefully sometime in May it comes to cabinet. Hopefully for cabinet to agree or not agree, and they may agree on some things, cabinet, or send them back to the negotiation table if we don't think we're comfortable with what is being negotiated in the interest of the people. But ultimately, the idea is that by May sometime this will be an agreement that we can present to the public and sign off on. With that in mind, we want to be able to get these people to mobilize within another 90 days at a time. The idea that is being put forward is that the pier itself will be expanded by the end of the year on one side of the cruise ship dock, so that the bigger ships, at least one of the bigger ships, can come in on one side, and the other side will be used by the smaller ships. I said the end of the year, but something at the end of the year, early the first quarter of 2014 is what the idea is. While that is happening, they will be presenting plans and so on for the land side to the town planning and so on for the final approvals, and then hopefully they can begin that process. The actual land side development is expected to take somewhere between 18 and 24 months from what I gather, and based on that, they will have to obviously be developing in a way that the tourists, while they're traversing, can be safe, and therefore I believe they're going to spend a lot more time during the summer for doing a lot of the major building part of it. I don't know exactly how it will be planned, but that's a quick idea of a timeline from what I understand. Advertising is a good idea. We've had discussions with the tourist board group in terms of promoting Craft Alive. For example, we are going to be doing a major promotion on the main street as we develop it in terms of a quaint historical area that we want them to go and visit, that have a lot of shops and so on. So the call is right. We need to do a lot more promotion advertising of what we offer, and that has been told to me also by the cruise ship group at the FCCA meetings, that we need to do more on that. The $20 million will obviously be managed by the government, the various departments. If it's a project in the city, it will be managed by the city development management group through whatever ministry is being done. Obviously, it will have oversight by the Ministry of Finance. And if it's, for example, a development on the beaches or the historical sites, it will come through whichever ministry is dealing with that. Historical sites are dealt with, I believe, through the Ministry of Education. The beaches are dealt with through the Ministry of Natural Resources and Labor. For example, Brandywine Beach, if you're going to do something with that early in the game, they will take control of that and manage. So
the requisite ministries will handle the project.
Yes, with ultimate oversight by the Ministry of Finance.
Okay. Are you going to give them any special duty-free or any of those types of concessions when they bring in their material, the equipment, and so on?
It will be what we call a public-private partnership. Under that, I don't know exactly how the rule works, but the Port Authority concessionary situation they deal with in terms of a statutory body and so on.
Because that would make our local companies who sell these materials, you know, the plumbing supplies, the construction supplies, less competitive.
Yeah, and so all of that has to be taken into consideration. Yes, definitely.
Okay. Now we talk about the payment for the cruise, the development being funded by the cruise ships, bringing the tourists, right? I want to talk about local investment and locals funding the part of the project, a percentage of the project, and reaping the benefits from that when we come back from this break from our sponsors.
Spotlight is brought to you by Tortola Concrete Limited and CCT Global Communications.
Welcome back to Spotlight. I'm here with Honorable Mag Venterpool, and we are trashing it out here in this cruise Pier development, and I'm trying to extract every drop of information out of the minister that I can so that we have a clear picture of what is involved in this development. You know, when the project came out, we make a big fuss, and I told you at the beginning of this program, and I've been telling you and the government for years that the Virgin Islanders have changed. A while back, you know, we didn't have any money, we didn't have any education, we had land. We made a lot of sacrifices, we give away a lot of land, beachfront property, we encourage investors to come in and so on. And we're not against investors, and we know we need investors to come in and invest. But we also know that we're at a point now, educationally and financially, where we ourselves can also invest, and we can become partners in our development. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a government who is going to put that as a priority for Virgin Islands, because the bank only paying 3/4% on your money. You're even making the money. The bank making 7%, you get not 3/4%. You can't exist that way with your money. So we need to make some real money on our money.
Of course.
So we asked for local investment to be a part of the deal. Who are the local partners?
Well, we have always spoken to these groups about ensuring that we get local partners involved in the deal at the highest level. It was further underscored by the public when a call was made for that to ensure that it happened. When we put out the bid, that was a requirement that you secure a portion of it for local investment. And indeed, we are ensuring that happens. As we said, the negotiations are going on. The Tortola Paper Group have not put forward a final name or group or individuals for it. We know that what we ask them to do is reserve the 20% for local participation. Personally, I hope that it's a chance for broad investment by as many Beaver Islanders as possible. But, you know, we want to see what's going to come forward to the table at the end, and hopefully we can make that happen.
Are they limiting, is it you limiting the amount we can invest, or are they limiting the amount we can invest? I mean, why 20%? If we want to invest 50%, why can't we invest 50%?
Well, I mean, we suggested 20. I think the figure that's being bantered about is 30. I don't know what's going to come out of the final discussions and negotiations. But at the end of the day, you know, you want to get as much as possible as local investment, obviously, but also the investors who are putting up their share want to be able to make it worth their while also. However, what we want to do, Cromwell, is ensure that as wide as possible a number in the territory are able to benefit from this. And I hope that this comes out of it, and that we can encourage as many persons as possible to make an investment in it. Sometimes we are fearful to invest, sometimes we are concerned, sometimes we work so very hard for our little money that we don't want to invest it. But I want to encourage people that if the opportunity comes, that they will take advantage of it.
Well, who's going to set up the investment facility? And by facility I mean rules and regulations, the vehicle.
The vehicle and the rules of it.
Yes, the vehicle for us to be able to feel safe in investing.
Yeah.
And what kind of returns we're going to get on that investment. Who's going to set that up?
I don't know at this point, Cromwell, and I think when the final negotiations come up, we want to see what the group agrees to. But when that time comes and there's need for vehicles to be set up, if that's necessary, then we have to discuss how we're going to set up a vehicle. And it can be done in many ways. I'm not suggesting that I know how it should be done. Sometimes you can do it through a trust. Sometimes you can do it through the National Bank, for example. Sometimes you can do it through various means of raising the funds. And if you remember, I was on one of the talk shows one time. I think it was the talk show hosted by Mr. Edmund Radur and Speak Your Mind. And I suggested that not just for this project, but BVI needs to start looking at sort of setting up a sort of general fund that people can invest in for investment purposes, that you don't have to wait till an investment possibly comes up. But as you said, you want to make sure that they're trusted individuals or trusted groups, or it doesn't necessarily have to be an individual or group. It can be a trust that can be set up and managed, and people can invest in that, and those funds are used for investment purposes.
But I don't want
not just in this, but in other things that may come up.
I don't want to go off on a tangent because this will carry me too far afield.
I imagine.
Yeah, but I don't know why the government can't help to facilitate a national development organization so that people could invest in all these projects that's coming up. That we could develop an airport project, ports project, Western project, all these projects.
It's a wonderful idea.
So I don't know why the government should have done this long ago. But
it's a wonderful idea.
But so why you ain't doing it?
It's not so simple and easy. But yes, but sometimes you don't necessarily want the government to do it. I don't know if I'm going to totally agree to that. But the government can certainly help to accommodate it and organize it.
The government needs to help to facilitate it.
Because yes, I agree.
The government going to have to be the one that's going to have to give us the confidence that to want to invest together. I mean, and you know, that's a major thing. I'm trying to control myself. I'm trying to control myself with that particular situation.
Yeah.
That's a
no, but it's important for us to find ways of getting people involved and investing.
That's a real sore point with me.
Yeah.
So, but speaking of a local investment and broaden the base of investment, you know, Royal Caribbean put out a letter that they say they sent to that was in the news. Say they sent to the governor and the foreign and Commonwealth office, saying that their local partner was the BVI Investment Club. And
sorry, who's the local partner? Royal
Caribbean. I mean, Tatola Port Partners.
Oh, yeah.
Tatola Port Partners. Local partner was the BVI Investment Club, and Royal Caribbean was, I think, Romasco Associates. I don't quite, but I know it. I think
Romasco, I think, is it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the whole name, but Romasco, yes.
So it's the word is in the community that these two groups of Virgin Islanders are going to be the ones who involved in the process. Now you're saying to us that you're looking to broaden that base, but we are hearing that these are the two main partners that's going to be in the process.
I don't know what is going to come forward, and I'm not telling you that I'm broadening the base. I'm suggesting that would be a good thing to happen. I want to make sure that we don't put that out there. I'm not suggesting that. I'm not saying that is what's going to happen. I'm saying that would be a good thing. But I am not in the negotiation process, and I am not privy to what is happening there, and I can't determine what happens there. I have to, when it comes to the cabinet as a group, agree or disagree to what is being presented to us. Now, I would say that as far as we are concerned as a cabinet, when we made the decision to select Tatola Pier Park Group, on that decision, when it was presented to us, it was not presented to us with any group that you name. It was presented to us with a reservation for 20% partnership. It did not come to us with that name at the time, as far as I can recall. However, and very possibly they have spoken to the Pier Investment Group. As far as I know, there isn't an agreement with them and Pier Investment Group, from what I have been told. And so, you know, you never know. But I'm saying, at the end of the day, we hope that there is, not hope, but we expect that there will be an investment at least up to 20% for locals. And we're going to ensure that when the final negotiations come out.
Can that be more?
It can be more, yes.
Can that be more? Is it limited to 20%?
No, it's not limited.
It's a minimum. 20% is the minimum.
It's the minimum we have asked for.
And if I got the feeling that the Tortola Pier partners with the investment club, with the Tortola Pier partners being the winner of the bid, then the investment club would be the investor. And if Royal Caribbean had been the winner of the bid, the Romasco Group would have been the partner. And my question is, why any of the local groups have to lose out on participation because one foreign company or the other win the bid? Why can't, if Tortola Pier partners win the bid, why can't the investment club and Romasco Group be local partners in whether Royal Caribbean had won the bid or the Tortola Pier partners had won the bid?
That's why I said, it's completely open. I mean, the negotiations and the Tortola Pier group can come forward with whatever they want to propose as a local partnership. It could be, who knows? I don't know. I don't know that it's investment club. I don't know it's Romasco. I don't know. It could be a combination. It could be an open for all other investors in the territory who want to invest in it, or buy shares into a public company that we created. Can be any number of things. And you know, what comes out of it, we hope that it will be to the benefit of as many Pier Islanders as possible. But you know, at the end of the day, we are looking to ensure that we encourage and protect local investment into the project. That's what we're saying. At least up to 20%. We can't determine who at this point, but that's what we're encouraging.
Yeah, but you are the government, and you certainly, if it is your philosophy and your desire to have a broader group of Virgin Islanders invest, can't you say to the negotiating team, we would like you to negotiate for as many Pier Islanders as want to invest to be able to invest?
Let me say this point, Cromwell, that what we're looking for, and hopefully that will come out of it, is that when the proposal comes to cabinet from the negotiation team, it has the possibility of as wide as possible local investment in the project.
So it is still time, because of the negotiations, the ongoing negotiations, there's still time for you to say the Pier Investment Club, the Caribbean Investment Club, the Eastern Investment Club, the Langlook Investment Club, Romasco Group, Punchy, Try,
or a public company that you have, if you want to invest $1,000 or $500 or $2,000 or $10,000 that you can put into it, that then is the vehicle for investing with this group. Anything can be proposed.
Because at the end of when you come to the country again with the final project, we're going to be looking for that part of it. So,
of course.
I'm just drawing it to your attention.
Yeah, and like I said, I hope that it's as broad as possible and it's not just necessarily one group, but that's, you know, it's a public-private partnership that you know, will include some of those negotiations.
Yes, indeed. I think we went down. Let me see. You answered most of the question. I think we got most of the questions in. You know, the Royal Caribbean made some claims about, and they were quite upset that the tendering process was biased, and you had the intention all along to give Tortola Pier the project, and that was one of the claims. One other claim was that the specifications kept changing, and so you keep moving the goalposts. they also suggested that the BVI Investment Club was a partner, which is a conflict of interest with government. I don't want to give you all, but I want you to respond to some of those things.
Well, first of all, Cornel, let me say that once we decided to change the direction we are going with the project in terms of having it put out on international bid, we went to the procurement team, who did exactly what is required in putting out an international bid, advertised it widely, broadly, all over the world, through major newspapers, through local newspapers, through online media. We advertised it. It was very broadly advertised, exactly what was necessary to bid. The 3 bidders came in. We selected 2. They went to the next process where discussions were held with the 2. Following that, 1 was selected and presented to Cabinet. Cabinet made a decision to go with this group for negotiations. At the end of the day, if it's not final at negotiations and agreement, we have to go back to the drawing board, but hopefully we can finalize the negotiations. Prior to that, when we put the bid out, we made every effort to encourage as many persons as possible to enter the bid. It wasn't anything that we were predisposed to any one group. In fact, we were hoping that we would get as many persons as possible to be able at least to look at the various proposals that we could have there. Some could be different from Tortola Pier Park group, some could be the same, some could be better, some could. We were looking for the best for the territory. And as far as we're concerned, the negotiations, the procurement committee presented to the cabinet what they thought was best in the bids that came forward. Now, the time frame that the bids went out for, one can argue or may say it was short, but it was according to the regulations that normally precedes these kinds of bids. And the finance team that put it out there gave a time period. In fact, at the end, they extended it for another week or 2 weeks, I think, to be able to give persons time to present their full bid, and so on. Now, I don't know of any group proposal that was changed, and maybe that is something that can be proven. I don't know, and I believe that a clear, transparent process was followed. That is consistent with international bidding. So that's as much as I can say on that. And we believe that the group that presented themselves, the 2 groups, are very plausible. We want to continue to have a very good relationship with all of them. Both Royal, Disney, and Norwegian Cruise Lines are very crucial to our tourism product here. They have been for many years. They're consistent. They have been supporting us, and we want to make sure that we support all of these groups as they go forward. We want them to continue coming here, all 3 of them, and many others. So we're going to be always supportive of that, but we believe that we went through a very transparent process in the bidding.
Would Norwegian Cruise Line and Disney have made that deal about bringing 425,000 tourists a year? Were we able to fund the total project ourselves as Virgin Islanders?
If you were able to fund it?
Yeah, if we had said to Norwegian Cruise Line and Disney Cruise Line, listen, we need you to, we're going to build this pack, we're going to build it ourselves. We don't want Tortola Pier partners and the guys from Miami and these other places to do the job. We're going to do the job ourselves. This is what we are going to build. If we fund this job ourselves, if we pay for it ourselves, would you still bring 425,000 tourists every year to make sure that we are able to sustain the development?
I believe Cormela could have been negotiated. Yes.
Okay. Well,
what they're looking for these cruise liners is what they call a sort of a port that they can guarantee that they will be able to go to in the future, and nobody can tell them they can't berth. It's what they call a berthing agreement. That when they come on a certain day in the week, that this spot is cleared for them and nobody can take it unless they give it up. So they're going to guarantee you it in return for you guaranteeing that spot along the pier on a particular day in the week, and that's what they look for. So you could have negotiated on your own.
What are the plans for the development of our historic sites in Rotown? Do we have any plans for the development?
There are a number of them. We are now ourselves, along with the Ministry of Education and other groups, are looking at identifying those. We've identified the old prison. We are looking at a number of others on the outside of Rotown. Main Street, to me, on a whole, is a historical, a lot of historical building and sites there. The old post office and other places like that. So we're identifying them now. We want to start working on one at a time or two at a time. We're starting with the old prison in Rotown right now, and there are a number of others that we're looking at. We're looking at some on the outside where we can, some of the old forts and the old buildings that are on the outside that we want to rehabilitate and work on. As you know, I believe the Episcopal Church is working on the old church up in Kingston,
yes.
And so on. Whatever way we can assist in that process, we will be able to do that, and so on. There's the Quaker burial grounds that we have around. A number of things like those we want to highlight and bring out and be able to offer and suggest, not just to the visitors, but you know, our kids and ourselves. We can benefit from preserving those sites and be able to look back at them as our history.
Okay. Let's Honorable Vanderpool is talking about building a village that happened to what happened to Palm Grove Shopping Center. There is a law against asbestos roof, but still it is there, and it is dangerous to our health, and still nothing is being done.
It's a good question. We are definitely going to take down Palm Grove Shopping Center and build a more modern building, and it's something that we're discussing and we're looking at. We're also looking at a number of other things like parking lots and parking areas and so on. We are going to be coming out in a not too distant future with sort of general public discussions and a number of issues like those that we want to get the public's input from before we start doing a number of things like that. But certainly Palm Grove, I agree with the caller, needs to go. It's not fit into Rotown anymore, and we want to encourage that.
Cromwell, we need a government that have nothing to do with the investment club. It's either NDP or the investment club.
At the end of the day, you know, what I tell people is that, listen, we have been elected to serve the country. Our association with investment club and so on, we have all agreed that we distance ourselves from it, because we want to ensure that when we make public decisions, that they're in the interest of all the people of the territory. The investment club, as far as I'm concerned, is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. In terms of all decisions that we make, we would like to support any group or any business that is a BV Islander business that we can say we support. In the cruise ship business, Cromwell, you know, we want to ensure that the ferry boat business that is there, that is going to benefit from the cruise ship business, it's our local people in the ferry boat business. We want to ensure that the tours are our local people in the tour business that they have been in the past. And all the other spin-offs that come there, we want to ensure that we preserve it for our local people. So, you know, it doesn't, and our local people mean the investment club, means the various persons who've been involved in the cruise tourism in the past. It means that all these people, not in the cruise ship business only, but we want to be able to support all of our local people, whether it's a group, whether it's a company, whether it's an individual, as long as you're a local BV Islander. When our good gentleman, the Prime Minister of the UK, travels to Russia and he just went to somewhere else, he takes his local business people with him to ensure that they get entrenched in whatever business deals he's negotiating overseas. Yes. There's no reason why we shouldn't be doing that here. Absolutely. We should be negotiating as a government on behalf of our own people. That is what we're there for.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to give my opinion, but I feel compelled to say that the investment club concept is the most important concept that we need to hold on to as Virgin Islanders. We should not allow anybody, and I think certain members of the last government did a real disservice in its attempt to destroy the investment club on the territory and destroy the concept of pooling our local resources, because that is the only way we are going to, I should say, one of the many ways that we are going to be real stakeholders and real owners of our economy and be able to provide food, clothing, and shelter for ourselves. So I don't like it that the government feels the need to distance itself from the investment club.
I understand what I mean by that, you know, because I'm saying we are not making decisions in the cabinet based on any investment club or any one individual. We make decisions based on the merits of the case that is being presented to us, and those merits have to be clear, and that's our job to do it in the best interest of the entire Virgin Islands. Now, there are other groups that were there, I wish that we could encourage them to. It appears that people have got scared away. The Quest group on the western end, the group that was in the eastern end, the Virgin Gorda group, and all these groups of young persons who are trying to pool their resources to be able to invest in the territory. We should be encouraging them to continue to do so, as well as our local entrepreneurs who are doing, in many ways, a fantastic job of trying to to own a stake in the economy. We want to make sure that the economy is owned, because that's the only way it can last for a long time, that it's owned by all people, and we're very serious about that.
Good night. I really like the way the minister articulates. He sounds good. My thinking is, why not have a tourist board as part of the selection process as it relates to businesses? They have a marketing vision for the country, and those businesses that will be there can fit into that vision. Just my thought.
I'm quite sure the tourist board will be involved. The tourist boarders are members of the Port Authority, and they're involved in a lot of activities the Port Authority does. They're on the dock ensuring that when the tourists come in, that they're well received and so on. And the tourist board is very active in the process. So I'm sure they will be involved in that when the time comes for setting up whatever committee might be necessary to make the selection. I'm sure they will be involved.
Okay. Good night. Great interview. Kudos to you, Cromwell. You need to be working on CNN. You are that good.
I just told you that, remember?
Yeah. I like your suggestion. Why can't both local bidders team up and get the project done? It makes a lot of sense to me. Thank you very much for your support and your kind words. We've gone long past the turn of the clock, and I know that we're going to get cuts at the end of the program. But I have to thank you very much. I
appreciate your tough and long questions, Cromwell, but I was happy. I hope I was able to answer some of them and be upfront about it. There's nothing that we have to hide. There's nothing being hidden. We're upfront. We're going through a process, a transparent process, and we expect to wait till the negotiation committee is finished, and Cabinet will make a decision on what is best in the best interest of the territory. The government needs to justify its actions. Yes. And tell the people the truth. Yeah, most definitely. Don't come with no halfway story. We have passed. People may think differently, but as minister, I am very clear and above board on what we're doing here. No interest at all except in the interest of the people of the territory, and we're speaking the truth. Okay. It may not appear so at times, but I'm very clear at times. When you're going through a negotiation stage, you can't say certain things, but at the end of the day, we are going to let the people. If you're negotiating things on my behalf, you need to let me know what you're talking about. Yeah, but I will tell you at the right time. Don't get worried. You will know. Well, the right time is what I want to know. Yeah, the right time is what I want to know. But thank you very much for coming. I appreciate your candor, and I appreciate you taking the time to come and talk with us and help to set the record straight. Thank you for having me. Yes. Next week, the spotlight is going to shine on the National Health Insurance Plan. That's another hot issue that we need to get started out, and I'm hoping that the people that come next week are going to be properly prepared, because a lot of questions are unanswered, a lot of information is not forthcoming. I don't know whether the government don't know what it is they're doing, or the people who they send in don't know what the plan is about. But I'm hoping that when they come on Spotlight next week, that they will be properly prepared, because the same treatment what I give this minister here is the same treatment I have prepared for them. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for your words of encouragement, your suggestions and criticism. Continue to email me at jtbspotlight@yahoo.com. Don't forget, when the Spotlight is on, don't forget, Spotlight is rebroadcasted every Sunday at 2:30 p.m. here on JTV Channel 55. And you can view Spotlight on the internet at jtvlive.net. I'm Edjuenka, reminding you that when the Spotlight is on, you see the facts. Peace and blessings.
This program is sponsored by the law firm of J.S. Archibald & Co. and by the trust company J.S. Archibald Trust Services Limited, both of Rotown, Tortola, BVI.